welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. Especially a huge thank you to the authors who are joining me tonight. I am so excited to have each and every one of them with us, and I cannot wait for them to introduce themselves to you guys. But first, I do have two announcements. So I'm going to say these as quickly as I can, but I wanted to make sure that I got them in so everybody knows. The first announcement is sad news. The 2022 Logos and Mythos Summer Reading Challenge is almost over. But grand prize winners are going to be announced on Sunday evening, so be sure to comment on my Saturday post. So tomorrow there will be a post that goes up either on Facebook or Instagram by noon on Sunday. So as long as you get it in there by Sunday at noon Central Time, with all the book categories you guys have read. So one of our grand prize winners will be whoever has read the most books from the challenge, and the other grand prize winner will be the most points. So if you guys have been participating by either commenting on my posts on either Instagram or Facebook, and if you have been coming to the lives or watching them later and commenting on them, that's how you get points. So most points and the most books read are going to be our two grand prize winners. So let's see, I think I was going to tell you, oh yes, what you win. So the grand prize winners are going to get their choice of either a book by one of this summer's featured authors or one of our authors of the roundtable. So some of these lovely ladies here with me tonight. Or you can choose a $25 Visa gift card. That way you can use it at your favorite indie bookstore. And so that's what the prizes are. So thank you guys to everybody who's been participating. It's been such a fun summer. Thank you to the authors and the readers who have just made it amazing. And then my second announcement is, just because the Summer Reading Challenge is coming to an end, that doesn't mean that the bookish fun is going to stop. You can join me all year long for my Logos and Mythos book club. This is 2 monthly meeting dates. So you have either the first Monday of the month or the first Friday of the month. The first Monday of the month is at 8 p.m. That's Central Time. The first Friday of the month is at noon, also Central Time. So our August meetings will be this coming Monday. So as soon as the challenge ends, we have a book club. And then the Friday, next Friday, which is August 5th. Now, our book club is unique because there's no set book to read. Basically, we all just come together and share what we're reading. We can ask each other for recommendations, and it's just a ton of fun. And it's on Zoom. So wherever you happen to be, you can join in. I'm going to put some links in just a minute. I'm going to put some links in the chat for you guys. You can just go directly to register for the events next week. And then also there will be another link where you can actually join the book club. And the benefit to joining the book club is you'll get email reminders and updates, and you'll also get the recordings of our book club meetings, because those I want to keep safe, and just for the people who are part of our book club, they're not going to be posted on public places. So that's what those links are. They're going to go in the chat, and if you're watching this later, I'm going to put those links also in the comments below. All right, so I think that's all the announcements. Now, to let you guys know what's coming, each author is briefly going to introduce herself and her books, and she's also going to share a link in the comments so that you can get to know her better. And once again, if you're watching the replay, I will make sure to put those links in the description below so that you can just go right to where they are and you can find out more about each of these amazing authors. After our introductions, we would love for you guys to ask questions. You can address your question to one particular author, to all of us, whatever. And like I said, authors, you guys get to ask questions too if you want to. So feel free to do that as well. All right, I think that that's everything for right now. And I am going to put May on the spot and ask her to go first. Please don't shoot me later. I love you. Okay, I'm going to put the links in here, and then I am going to turn it over to May Smith.
Hi, I'm May Smith, and I have a few books out. I have a co-authored book with actually Joy Rankator. It's called Finders Keepers: Practical Approach to Find and Keep Your Writing Critique Partner. So we wrote that. That's nonfiction. I have a poetry book out as well that is indie published called Grief Like a River. And I am currently working on a low fantasy novel that I plan on taking to a workshop in September with the great Maggie Stiefvater. So freaking out about that. So that's kind of my big thing there. What else do you need to know? Let's see. I'm very happy to be here.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean, just anything that you want people to know about you, and then where they can find you, and feel free to drop a link.
Right. I'm on Instagram at May, MEA Smith Writes. And I'm also at storyswell.net. So you can see a lot about my books and stuff there.
Oh, I should probably unmute myself. That was perfect. Okay, next, I'm just going on my screen who I see. So, Julie, will you please go next for us?
Thank you. Yes, I am Julie Brown. I write under the name Julie Mayerson Brown. I am a women's fiction author. I have a series out. I'll show you. I just happen to have all the books right here, which will be included in the prizes. Somehow I'll coordinate that with Joy. And I love writing stories about the women's journey and the character arc as a woman changes her life or has it changed and then has to adjust to it. I live in the Los Angeles area, so for me it's about 4:00 in the afternoon. I think some of you it's a few hours later. And I'm going to put my website in the chat. I have a newsletter that helps me keep in touch with my readers, and I send out something quick and easy to read, usually 2 or 3 times a month. And I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks.
So, I'm not going to take the time, but maybe if we have time later, I'll have to say like how I know each of you ladies or something like that, because I think that would be fun. But I'm gonna not do that right now. All right. Next is Candice.
Hey y'all, thank you, Joy, for putting this together. So I'm going to just say right now, I got to meet Joy working at the bookstore. So that was a lot of fun. She came and introduced herself and we became friends. Yay! So my name is Candice Marley Connor, and I write books about muddy swamps, Spanish moss, and stubborn souls. So I write kidlit from picture book. So I have these 2 picture books and up to YA. And yeah.
And where can people find you?
I will put my link in the chat. So I typically use Instagram. I am on Twitter and Facebook also, but I prefer Instagram. So I will put that link in there. And there we go.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Next, we have Stacie.
Hi, Joy. Thank you for having me. I am a writer, obviously, and I'm also a singer and a mother of 2. And I work at the St. Tammany Parish Library as an associate. My books that I have out published are here and here. And here, this is the Dream Chronicles series. It is a middle grade fantasy. And I'm also a poet, and I write lots of short stories as well. You can find me on my website, stacieeirich.com. I'll put that in the chat. And I also have an Amazon page. That's where you can find my books. I'm not on social media, but I do have a blog, and that is on my website, so you can see it there too.
Thank you so much for sharing. And next we have Pam, also known as Anne-Marie. If you will take it away and tell people more about your books.
Okay, as Joy said, my name is Pam, but I write under the name of Anne-Marie Jameson. Anne is my middle name. Marie was my mother's middle name, and James was my dad's name. I write cozy mystery books for women, fictional, although they're based largely on things that have happened in my life at any given time. But they are fictional. A lot of things have been scrambled, changed to protect anesthetics, so to speak. All my characters are based on my family members, so I changed all their names. I have what I call my Willow Rose series, and there's 4 books in the series. The first 2 I self-published. The first one's A Bed of Roses. The second one is Belle Rose. I don't know if y'all can see that. And then the other 2 were published by publishing company, small publishing company. The third book in the series is Petite Rose, and then Coming of Roses. I also have a children's book out, but it's no longer in print. It can only be purchased through me because I have stacks of them because it was before printing on demand. Currently, are we supposed to be saying what we're currently working on? Or is that going to be the next question?
Yeah, you can definitely do that.
Okay. But what I'm currently working on is I'm writing a short story. This for an anthology that my writers group is putting together. Each year they put an anthology together, and each author that belongs to the writers group submits a short story, and we publish it. So that's what I'm working on right now, and it should be out in December. And then I also am working with a playwright about possibly turning my 3rd book into a play. And the last thing I'm working on is a book tour in the fall.
That's so exciting. You've got a lot going on. Well, okay, I will go next. So my name is Joy Eirich, and I write Christian fiction, Southern fiction, historical fiction, fantasy, and nonfiction, much of which I'm told requires tissues to read it. If you love fantasy, my debut short story, A Liberal Awakened, appears in the Crux anthology, and the cool thing about that book is all proceeds go to Compassion International. I also have several free short stories set in that same realm on my website, which I'll share that link in just a moment. If you love imperfect characters who will make you root for them through the valleys of their lives, then you're going to love the books in Carolina's Legacy Collection. Any Good Thing and This Good Thing are available wherever you love to buy your books. You'll want to read them before Every Good Thing and One Good Thing come out, which I hope will be sometime before, I get more gray hairs. Anyway, finally, for all of you fellow writers out there, like May mentioned earlier, we have a book out together. And if you want to know all about critique partners, you would love Finders Keepers, a practical approach to find and keep your writing critique partner. May is going to just, I'm so sorry. I messed that up. Anyway, so basically what happened with that was we trial and errored our way to becoming top-notch critique partners for one another. And we decided that we wanted to write a book on it so that we could help people not make the same mistakes that we did. So I am currently rewriting one more short story in Every Good Thing for like the gajillionth time. And I'm so close to the editing stage for One Good Thing that I can taste it. My goal is for at least one of these books to launch this year. And with all of this that I'm doing, it kind of continues my mission of writing the soul with heart. So, like I said, I will drop the link for all of my good stuff in the comments, and y'all will have that. Okay? So now it is time for questions. So you can either just ask away or you can put into the chat. And I do have a couple from people from social media from earlier that I can throw out there in a little while.
Well, I'll start. I'll throw a question out there, and this is for Joy or May. what's the biggest mistake or one of the bigger mistakes that you know of? Maybe you've made it, maybe you haven't, as far as a critique group, because I have been in and out of several critique groups over the years, and I think there's some burnout. Like they go along. I was in one for years and we just kind of faded. So what are the pitfalls that you see?
Well, I can tell you that we actually don't cover critique groups because we don't like them.
Oh, okay. Well, then critique partners.
Partners for sure. And we address that in the book actually. And Joy has written up this beautiful piece that's in the appendix as well. And so I'm sure that she'll be able to talk to that in just a moment. But for me, I think that one of the pitfalls is that the author doesn't necessarily like look internally to see if they're ready for these kind of critiques and that sort of thing. And so I think that was when I was getting earlier critiques, like when I was in college and that sort of thing, it would like hurt me personally. And then I would like go into a downward spiral. But when you get to a place where you can evaluate yourself and what you want and what your goals are with your writing, and then I think that's a good foundation to see if you're ready for a critique partner. Joy, I know you probably have an answer for this too.
Well, that's a great one. And I love that you brought that out because we talk about that a good bit, getting yourself ready to be critiqued and also to critique others. It's a super important step that I think we may not think about, as far as for critique groups, I totally understand, the frustration of how maybe they don't last or they just don't seem to work very well. For me, I so prefer the critique partner aspect. It's just, the person, how they write, their goals, their everything with their writing, where they're wanting to get, right? Because you know them on a deeper level than you usually get in critique groups. And also you're able to invest in their future as writers a little bit more. Typically, the way that May and I do it most of the time is we read the whole thing at once, rather than with a group. Typically, you get, a chapter maybe, or maybe even less at a time. For me, it's difficult to critique things, just in tiny bites at a time too, because there's so much more that you can say when you know the big picture as well. So those are just some of the reasons that I prefer the partner situation to the group situation. We do have a little bit in our book, though, about critique groups and how to make the most of them and how to make them work, because they absolutely can work. And I know people who are in critique groups and it's just a dynamic situation and they just all mesh and it works well and it's amazing. And that's great if you can find it. Unfortunately, a lot of times it doesn't work out that way. So if you can find one or two other authors who you really resonate with and you can kind of have that, I guess, more close relationship to really invest in one another's writing and future as authors, that is amazing. I am super thankful for May. I wouldn't be where I am today without her. That's for sure.
I will tell you too, Julie, that doesn't mean that you have to stick to one critique partner. Joy has 3, I think now. So, but they don't meet all at one time. So she parcels out her stuff and, which person she thinks will be best for a particular piece that she's working on, except for I get all of them because I'm special. So
that is true. Stacie has actually read some of my stuff.
But there are ways to, and that kind of comes to the point with how much time do you have, because we talk about reciprocation in the book as well. And if so like just being able to make sure that you're able to reciprocate it doesn't have to be in critique ways. It can be in other ways. If they need help with blurbs or something like that, it can be in other ways. But just being able to reinvest time into your critique partners as you take time away from them. Does that help at all?
Oh yeah, I'm always fascinated by how other authors do things, and I go in and out of, like, sometimes I am in my own little cocoon, and then other times I need to be part of a community.
Well, I was just talking to an author the other day who said that she had gone through quite a few writing critique groups online, and so she had not had luck with them. And as somebody would get a little bit of recognition, there would be jealousy and other feelings that would come in, and then it would just contaminate the whole situation. And so she was having, a bit of trouble with that. As well. I can tell you I have had 3 meetings with the 4 people who are in my smaller group for this workshop. And we've all read first chapters. This is the first time that I've ever done something like that. My chapter is due on Tuesday. So they'll critique mine. And I will say I did hold back critique because I didn't know them very well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also a group setting, so I didn't want to embarrass anybody to, or anything like that either, because the content was really good. There was really good things in there, but I was afraid they would focus on the things that I felt like needed some tweaking. So instead of hearing your chapter is really good, let's look at these these things.
Yeah.
And since I didn't know how they would receive the critique, I did hold back. Now, I didn't not give any critique either. I just picked things that I felt fit the environment that I was in at the time. So if somebody else brought up something and we ended up going a little bit deeper, then I would bring in some of those deeper things as well. And with every critique, every chapter that we critique, we get to know each other a little bit more as well. So I think that whoever went first probably was a little like sacrificed a bit there because
That's always the case.
Yeah, I mean, she was a trooper too, man. But so and these other 3 ladies are wonderful ladies. Their critique was very kind and considerate, and it was thought through all from beginning to end. So I don't know if we'll stay, in some sort of situation like this, but for these particular 3 meetings, it's been pretty nice. But they always seem to fizzle out, don't they?
What can you do?
I think that's due to time, which you mentioned first. It's just hard, especially when you have 3 or 4 people or so, to find times when you can all get together, even if it's through Zoom. And so right now I have one partner in poetry, I'll say. And sometimes we critique each other, and other times it's just kind of where we go, oh, that was so beautiful, and we're gushing. But we're getting to know each other's styles, and our poetic styles are quite different, but we both enjoy reading each other. But both of us, we have kids, we have other jobs. We're not, right? I'm sure for all of us that's true, that we're not only writers. That's not what we do with 100% of our time. So
we do have lives. At least we try to.
So Candice had a question for you, May. She wants to know more about the Maggie workshop, which I think we probably all do.
Yeah, I just heard that she went to Scotland, did a workshop there. Do you get to go out of the country with her? Or?
Go to Maryland. So I really wanted to go to Scotland, like really wanted to go, and wasn't able to fit it in. I had to be an adult. I cried. I literally cried. And then after Scotland was full, she opened up Maryland, and my husband was like, you gotta go. And I was like, I know I gotta go. So that's what it is. And it's her, Anna Bright and Sarah Baptiste, I think her name is, but they're 2 authors, and I think Sarah is in some sort of literary thing, but it was Maggie Steve Otter that sold me. She's one of my favorite authors.
Yeah, she's amazing.
So I'll be there, and I don't even know what the 4 days are gonna contain. I'm just gonna be there.
Yeah, soaking in the greatness of Maggie.
Can you type her name into the chat so
Yeah.
anybody who might want to, because I'm actually not familiar with her.
She's amazing.
She is amazing.
Okay, well then I got to look it up.
Do you like adult or do you like YA or like?
I read mostly adult.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I would probably go with what the Raven Cycle. Do you think? Oh, All the Crooked Saints. All the Crooked Saints. That's my recommendation.
Such a good one.
Okay.
With her book.
Oh, yes. So All the Crooked Saints and Scorpio Races are my two favorite. I do like the Raven Cycle, but those two books really have my heart. I would tattoo all of the words of All the Crooked Saints all over my body if I could.
So good. So, Candice, I had a question for you from someone on social media earlier. They asked, and this came from your bio, about how you're a haint. And she wants to know how you can be a haint while still being alive.
Okay. So I work part-time as the children's specialist at the Haunted Bookshop, and we're haunted by the ghosts of great literature. And so my title, instead of saying children's literature specialist, is the kidlit haints. So that's what my specialty is. It's a lot of fun. We just moved locations yesterday, so we've had our soft opening, and this building is actually haunted, where our last one was just haunted by books. We haven't had any mishaps yet, so we're hoping they're friendly.
Where are you, Candice?
In Mobile, downtown Mobile, Alabama.
Oh,
That's so cool. Our
excellent.
library has a ghost too.
Fun.
Well, you have to tell us about that because I don't know about that.
If you don't know, then you need to look it up. And then the library has a ghost.
Oh my goodness. But it's like the newest branch too, or the newest building.
Well, I'll say just Madisonville, really right there on the river, but it's right where the library is located. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm definitely looking that up. Okay, who else has a question?
I have a question for Pam.
Okay.
Hi, Pam. You write cozy mystery, right?
What cozy mystery? Nothing
Mystery?
too no, I don't get into serial killers or anything like that.
So I want to know how you put the puzzle together. Like, do you know the puzzle before you start writing, or do you, when you write, do you?
Well, I kind of do things probably not the way that anybody else would do them or anybody would recommend that you do them. I read something one time that said the way I write is sometimes described as a pantster because you kind of go by the seat of your pants. But I usually have an idea in my head of what I want to do, what direction I kind of want the book to go. But then I kind of let the story unfold in my head as I'm writing. It just kind of writes it. I shouldn't say writes itself because it's a lot of work. It doesn't just happen, But it's I don't always know when I start the book. I don't know how it's going to end. I don't even know sometimes how it's going to be in the middle. I just kind of have an overall idea. I start writing and, let it develop. One of the things that helps me do that is that my series is based on, like I said, people in my real life, people who, each one of my characters is inspired by a relative or a friend or, whatever. So I automatically know in my head what that person looks like, how old they are, what kind of skills they have, what profession they have, so I kind of build it around that character. And I may change, like I have a sister that's an LPN and I changed her to be an RN. I have a brother who piloted small charter planes and I made him a pilot in an airline, just embellish, and so, but I find out, I know things that are in their lives that have happened, and I take something that happened in their lives and I build a story around it and our mystery around it, So that's kind of how I do it. It's probably not very common that people do it that way. I would think they would have to map it out. Most people, if they're creating it from whole cloth, they're probably having to map it out a lot more than I do. And at some point I have to start formulating it more precise, because you have to, like you said, you can't just have this happen and then this happens. You have to have step-by-step ways that it happens. It has to all make sense. It has to all add up. And then when I finish the rough draft of it, and then I know the ending, I can go back and add stuff. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. I always had admired people like Agatha Christie and anybody who could write a really good mystery, because I never guess them. I'm always surprised at the end. So
Yeah, my YA is a mystery, and I wrote it the same way Pam did, by the seat of my pants. But
so I don't feel so alone now.
Right, you're not alone. No, but my main character had a head injury, so she was an unreliable narrator. So the story was out of chronological order. So when I had to revise and resubmit, she's like, "What if we put this in chronological order?" So it took rewriting the whole book, but it did help the mystery aspects. I could build on them a little bit more, as like Pam was saying, with the revision process.
Yes, definitely. Once I get to the ending, like I said, I have to go back and do a lot of revising to make that make sense. I may have something at the end that I'm like, oh, I need to put the breadcrumbs for that in chapter 3 so that it follows through to this can happen at the end. So there's a lot of rewriting and revisions in that process.
Yeah, with mine, the main question is what happened to the main character's brother who disappeared during a flood? And I had no idea. But B. Pearl believed he was alive, so I was like, well, I'm just going to follow her and see what clues she uncovers to figure out how he could possibly be alive in the swamps.
Yes.
All of your books are so great. Like, I've read each and every one of your books, which is why you're here, part of why you're here, because I love y'all's books, and I know that other readers will too. So definitely highly recommend you all. So very quickly, because we've only got a minute and a half left, was there anybody who didn't share what you're currently working on? I can't remember.
I am, so my books are in a series. They are in a box set on Kindle and Kindle Unlimited, and I'm currently working on the 4th in the series. So
what did you say the name of your series was again?
It's the Clearwater series.
Clearwater series.
And I'm going to admit that I didn't know there was a Clearwater, Florida, when I called my town Clearwater. And that is a lesson learned, that if you don't, and it has been, I'd say, a small issue. So, and my town is fictional. So if you're going to create a fictional town, as many of us do, and it's in California wine country, so it's not like in another world. It's just a fictional town in a real place. But I probably would not have named it Clearwater. So it's kind of an embarrassing admission. But if you just go into, it's all under Julie Mayerson Brown, and it's all I'm exclusive to Amazon right now. And that's actually, we don't have time for the conversation. I'd love to know if what you ladies are doing as far as exclusive with Amazon, or if you've gone wide, because that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, I've tried to avoid Amazon completely.
I forgot to say that my books are set in Natchitoches, Louisiana.